And this is how you spend a Monday afternoon if you are a pro wrestling fan. What a weekend. And we're here to break it all down. Your new favorite wrestling show here, courtesy of Believe on the audio side and right here on our YouTube page, part of BTT Studios on the video side. I am the coach. This is the Coach and Bro Show. And before we even get started, this man has a lot to say today. He is my partner, and I love doing this show with him from russosbrand.com, Vince Russo. Good afternoon, sir.
What is going on, Coach? Yeah, man, a lot of things to definitely discuss today. I'm kind of looking forward to this show because I love talking to you about this stuff. I also want to let everybody know, listening to this show, you can be a part of the conversation, but you got to do it through donations and super stickers. And we will pull you right up on the screen and address your comments, concerns, questions. Coach, where do you even want to start today, man?
Well, I got to tell you that I was thinking about you a lot Saturday night, and we talk about it all the time. And I had a couple people on my Twitter said, "Oh, you guys said 2 weeks ago that a Cena heel turn wouldn't make any sense." Well, that was our opinion, and our opinion is why we do these shows. But that's absolutely got to be where we start, because sometimes it's the execution that does it for me. And you and I don't always agree, and I like that we don't always agree. So I want to get your take first on, and we have to assume everybody watching the show right now saw the end of the show. We don't need to go through everything. But what did you make of the execution and the decision, a very important decision, a financial decision for John Cena to pull the trigger and go straight heel and align himself as, I guess, the new corporate guy with The Rock? What did you make of that?
Coach, I got to be honest, man. I tell people all the time, I only watch wrestling I get paid to watch. So I did not watch the Elimination Chamber. I'm not going to spend 3 hours of my night on a Saturday night. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I put on my YouTube and I saw what happened with Cena. And I got to tell you, Coach, I was thrilled. I was tickled to death. I was happy, because what that means is a couple of things for me. Russo's brand will now thrive. Why? Because now there's something to talk about. And that's always my complaint with Triple H and WWE creative. It's the same old, in the box, wash, rinse, repeat. The facts that they did this, kudos. I'm putting everybody over. But Coach, many levels to this thing. And you know, you and I, bro, we let all these other shows look at things on the surface. Screw the surface.
Yep.
There's many more interesting things happening here. First of all, guys, I have been saying this for a very long time. When we get to 2006, I do not believe that Triple H is going to be a part of the WWE. I am staying on that, and I am not moving off of that because, Coach, now we've got a little bit of a history.
Okay.
The WWE creative has sucked. Let's just look at the last 2 years. Has sucked for the last 2 years until Rock and Brian Gerwertz insert themselves. When Rock comes back right before Mania now, 2 years in a row, it's a whole different ball game. So you've literally got 11 and a half, no, I'm sorry, 9 and a half, 10 months of boring paint by number Triple H. And then you've got 2.5 months of what are they going to do? Shocking, compelling television, giving us something to talk about. This is 2 years in a row now. And Coach, I do want to say this. I believe this was a sense of urgency. I don't want to say desperation. There's no desperation. They got to deal with Netflix. They got paid a lot of money. There's no desperation. But I do believe they were feeling pressure. I do believe they were feeling pressure from Netflix and they had to do something. And I'm going to tell you, man, I can't believe now 2 years in a row that Rock walks in the door with his buddy Brian Gerwertz and him and Triple H are on the same page. Does not look like that to me, Coach. But props, whoever was involved, I give them credit for giving us something to talk about for the next 8 weeks.
Well, that was well said. And I said at the top of the show, we don't always agree. In this instance, a lot of what you said, I do agree with. Now, I want to start with the execution of how they ended up doing this. Because Vince, normally, and this is, I guess, the rinse repeat part of WWE, you always put the biggest match at the end. So when we came on, because we had a live watch along at the end right here on BTT, and we're like, we're going to come on when the last chamber match goes in. And I'm just sitting around the house. I'm watching it on my iPad, and I wasn't even in my office. And all of a sudden, Michael Cole tosses to the – I was like, wait a second. We haven't seen Cody and Rock yet. And so I'm scrambling. I get in here. We get on and everything. And then I started thinking. I was like, wait a second. Is the ending of this match somehow going to be directly involving that? And that screamed to me, as you said, Rock, because Rock thinks cinematically. Rock thinks long-term. He even said post-event, we're playing the long game to Sam Roberts. And Brian Gerwertz, for people who don't know who Vince is talking about, was the lead writer for Raw. Every single Rock promo that I ever did with The Rock, every one for multiple years, was written by Brian Gerwertz. He is his right hand. He runs his creative at $7. He's a super smart guy, and I think he's a pretty good writer. He was the guy behind Young Rock on NBC. And for them to have Cena win and have Cena end with CM Punk, they both had stories on going to WrestleMania. That was number one, Vince. Then out comes Cody, and they give that respect. So it took people's minds off of, oh, is somebody going to turn heel here? Because now it's we've seen it many times where one great champion, another great champion, shake hands, may the best man win. Then here comes Rock. And the only part I'm still trying to figure out on this is Travis Scott. So Travis Scott, who did the Raw theme song, he comes out, but Vince, he's in sunglasses and all the black, look cool, but he's like 130 pounds, 140 pounds. So not really muscle for Rock. Then Rock, Vince, looked like $10 million, not $1 million. He had a new outfit on, and he was ready to go. And then the execution where he tells him to go F himself, and then Cena gives him the bro hug, and this is why you remember this. You got to practice in the afternoon. You're somewhere in the building. You got to make sure those facials are shot. You have Rock back here, Cena here, and Cena's face just goes white. Just goes from, nothing. And that's when you knew. And the crowd's on their feet. And then you cut to The Rock, and he does the slash the throat thing. I was like, oh, and I'm watching this live, and I'm basically calling it live on the air. And I was like, holy cow. Because now you got two of the biggest names, arguably two of the Mount Rushmores aligned. And Vince, when I think of now what we can do as a corporate champion, now you can say John Cena is willing to do anything to become a 17-time world champion. And I think this is why they put in the line, I want your soul. Because now they're going to say John Cena is willing to sell his soul for a chance at that 17th title. So the writing's very, very important. The execution was very, very important. And I think moving forward now the issue is Cena's going to show up at all these different Raws overseas? Or does he have to go shoot his movie for the next 6 weeks? Because if he doesn't show up, don't they lose all the momentum on this?
Yeah, that's going to be tricky. I mean, listen, having, been in that spot, Coach, and we both were, you and I both know, Coach, if done correctly, they can get by with pre-tapes. If Cena's not there, they can tape with Cena. He can tape himself. They can get by with that. But I got to tell you, man, that's not going to be the same as him in the arena. But, Coach, I talk about it all the time. I talk about the difference between writers and bookers. I talk all the time between, wrestlers and the wrestling bubble. What did we have here, bro? We had two professional actors.
Correct.
We had The Rock
Correct.
and we had John Cena. This is not wrestling mamby-pamby, unbelievable BS like Michael Cole saying shit. I just got to put this out there, Coach. Michael Cole is really starting to become cringe to me. I'm just being honest with you. First of all, Coach, I do want to say this. I was not a fan at all about the Cody F-bomb. And I'll tell you why. First of all, I don't think that was true to his character. We've never seen Cody in an unprofessional situation before. I don't think that was true to his character. There was no reason for him to say, F off Rock, other than for the shock value. There are millions and millions of kids out there that love Cody Rhodes. He does a great stuff with Make-A-Wish, does a lot of work with kids. I feel it was unnecessary, just done for shock value. Okay. Michael Cole, on the other hand, dropping a shit. Michael Cole, yeah, brother, you dropped a shit, because that was the only thing in this whole segment that sounded scripted, that sounded fake. Bro, I swear to God, every week that I watch Michael Cole, and I have nothing against the guy personally, I work with him, he was a great guy, but all he's showing me every week is how badly he needed Vince in his headsets. Because Michael Cole, man, going into business for himself, dropping shit, which was so forced and so scripted and so blatantly done for the shock value, almost killed the freaking entire segment. But, like I said, Coach, we got a bigger problem here, though. I'm going to throw it back to you. We both have a lot to say about this. We got two professional actors in that ring, without a shadow of a doubt. Coach, how long are we going to depend on the Cenas and the Rocks? Who's behind these guys to carry them through the next 10 years?
It's a very good question. It's a very good question that I think for a long time it was fly by the seat of your pants. We'll get through this next one. That's kind of how I felt last year, when later we would find out that Rock pivoted away from the idea that he was going to have. What I hope, and I don't think this is going to happen, I hope that Rock is around more, because the one guy that can stand up to Triple H is The Rock. The one guy that's not going to listen to Triple H is The Rock. And I think now that Rock has got to really put his expertise in a way that he's never done before. And hear me out on this. He needs to go to all of these talent that are playing it safe, all these talent that are not pitching ideas and saying, guys, right now, you've got a chance to do this, but you need to think outside of said box. You can't show up and think a 12-minute match is going to be good enough after this year when Cena is gone. Because this year is going to be all about winning the title at Mania, maintaining it through the summer, losing it at SummerSlam, and then the last 4 months, somehow they turn him back babyface, and then he finishes out with the crowd going bananas for him. But if I'm a talent right now, whether I'm on that LFG show, the Evolve show, whatever it is, I am taking my chances. And I'm pitching not craziness, but a little bit edgy. I think the reason they use the F-bomb is because they're trying to show the world we're not on USA anymore. And we're on Netflix, we're on Peacock, we're on whatever, so we can use that language. I think that's why they did it, and the shock value. But to me, the answer is I don't know what is on the other side of this, because you don't grow these type of stars on trees. We're talking about two of the all-time greats. But other greats can come along. But Vince, they have to think like a great. They have to think like a great. And then they have to write for them like a great, which is, I hope Brian stays around. Gerwitz is very, very good. Mm-hmm. And then his protege is a guy named Ed Koskey. But without Brian there, Ed Koskey is one of those guys. I love him to death, but you want to keep your job. So he's never a guy that's going to go out on a limb and say, hell no. When you were there, you told me, what, 2 guys. So if you got in a fight with Vince, it was 3 guys arguing. It's turned into 20 guys in the room now, right, so you can't stick out because you want to keep your job.
Right.
And we need some guys that are a little bit crazy that say, let's take that a step forward. But I don't know if anybody there right now is willing to do that. Are you?
No, I don't. And that's why you know what? Triple H needs to be pushed. And you can tell when Rock comes WrestleMania season, Triple H gets pushed.
Yes.
You can see it. And Coach, I want to say this, bro. You know, in a world that is all about money and dollars and cents, and bro, let's face it, Cena's well off. I mean, between his wrestling career and his Hollywood career, you know, John Cena is not hurting. But I got to tell you, man, it showed me something. The money that Cena is leaving on the table for merch sales, he's leaving millions and millions of dollars on the table. That blows me away. Absolutely blows me away.
That's number one on my list. Number two is the Make-A-Wish. Number one, for people to understand what Vince is talking about, there was at one point in his career, and he's still very high up there. Part of selling a lot of merch is changing your merch all the time. You walk into the building, there were normally 2 or 3 guys always meeting with the merch guys. Rock, Stone Cold, and John Cena. Every Monday and Tuesday, they would spend 2 or 3 hours because they understood how important every 3 months you get that check. Vince, there was a point where he sold 37% of all merchandise for the WWE. Every dollar, 37 cents, was John Cena. And I think over the years, he can say what he wants. I traveled with him for a little bit, close to a year. And I know what makes him tick. And he loved being liked. And like a lot of people, he loves money. And he was making so much of it that he would come out with stuff that we thought was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And it would still sell because his name was on it. So I agree with you that this was a and I'm hoping that TKO made it right and threw him like a $5 or $10 million bonus, something like that, to make up for what he's going to lose. Yeah, and he will lose it.
And Coach, we're also talking about, farewell tour merch. This isn't like when you will work with, this is farewell. This is collectible stuff. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of stuff that everybody wants to buy, to say, oh yeah, I went to that last farewell tour. And I got to tell you, man, for him to leave all that on the table in a very, very selfish business, very, very, very respectable, man, really showed me a lot about the guy.
We have several people that are watching right now in the chat that think that, A, we don't know what we're talking about, B, that it will still sell like crazy if they do it right. But we're talking historically, guys, and we're talking about 30, 40 years in the WWE. I sat with those guys. The merch guys are 2 of my best friends. And when you turn heel, historically, yeah, maybe Roman sold some stuff, but heels, because these are kids that are buying. The parents are buying for the kids. And when 10-year-old little Johnny watches John Cena turn heel, and he was his hero, little Johnny does not want Cena's stuff anymore. So, yes, he might sell stuff to the 21-year-old fan or 25-year-old fan, but the majority is kids that parents buy for the kids. And you saw all those videos, Vince, kids losing their minds, young adults losing their minds. This affects a lot. Yeah. And we know what the hell we're talking about. On top of that, no, we're not saying it's going to be zero. Right. We're saying it's not going to be what it was.
It's not going to be it's not going to be what it could have been, without a shadow of a doubt.
Correct. So now we have to take this a step further, because I believe, and quite frankly, maybe I'll make it public. I feel like I should be part of Rock's group. If Rock's going to put together a group for a corporate, who was more known with him than me?
I'm with you.
Who was a better heel than me?
I'm with you, Coach. Yes.
It's me. Now, there is a name out there, Vince, that on the other side, and I've also had issues with this man, and he has been on record. In fact, producer man, if you don't mind, please roll this video of one Stone Cold Steve Austin and what he had to say.
Oh, it was close, and they certainly reached out to me, and we had conversations, but my wife and I had some things going on that I didn't need to go to Philly at that time. And but I have said I miss that Mania, and god dang, Philly was a good town for me back in the day, and I appreciate those fans. We couldn't make it down on that one, but WrestleMania this year is in Vegas. And I was doing an interview a while back, and I said, "Hey, man, and that's 400 miles. That's that's like right here where we're sitting, right down the road.
We're 3 miles away from Allegiant Stadium.
And I'm fixing to drive back to Reno in my buggy, and so. But anyway, it'll be in Vegas, so I hope to be there this year."
Well, Cody said you haven't punched your ticket enough.
If he needs another hand, I'll be there. Yeah.
You
All
know
right.
what, Coach? I got to tell you, we've been talking about it, but I just gotta throw this in there. I was there when The Rock and Austin was born. I was there for all of that. That right there is the Rock influence on Austin. Right there.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Creatively, Austin has 100% confidence in The Rock. I'm not sure Austin would be making that statement if it was just Triple H running the show. I'm really not sure. But he knows Rock. He worked with Rock for years. He saw what we saw on Saturday night. And I think Austin has all the confidence in the world in Rock. I think that makes a big difference.
I also think it's something different. I'm not disregarding what you just said. I think it's something different. What I think, and what did you hear at the top of that soundbite? Last year. And last year, word on the street is that he was offered that Undertaker spot. And Undertaker, we know, has a Legends deal that it's like in the $4 to $5 million range because he got it when Vince didn't want him going to AEW. Stone Cold's was less than that. And we know Stone Cold always wants to be the highest paid guy,
Right.
whether or not it is correct or not. He walked out on Vince several times because he didn't get the money he deserved. Hell, Vince, he walked out on me. We were supposed to fight at a pay-per-view. He thought it was below him. And so for me, this is about missing out on that payday a year ago and all the attention that got, because we haven't seen, and I believe Stone Cold is one of the best hosts in America just because he's a pro wrestler. He's a great host. He does great TV shows. But there's nothing like being in a great storyline leading up to WrestleMania.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of, I missed it last year. I don't want to miss it this year. And can you imagine, Vince, if that glass breaks at WrestleMania and we haven't heard it for how long? Just the glass, the people will lose their minds.
But, Coach, can we imagine the other side of this?
What's that?
After WrestleMania, you're going to blow all this out going into WrestleMania, and then after WrestleMania, they're gone. And we're back to the Sami Zayns and the Kevin Owens. And it's a double-edged sword, Coach. I hear what you're saying. It's phenomenal. Bring back Austin, bring back Rock. It is absolutely phenomenal. But then again, because there's nobody behind them, they set themselves up to fall off the cliff once Rock goes back to Hollywood, once Austin goes back to Texas, etc.
Well, then they may be stuck in a corner and have to pay Rock more and more money because money talks, especially in the wrestling business. If they give Rock another $30 million, now he is shooting that Martin Scorsese movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. He did just move, as he announced the other day, his company underneath the Disney umbrella. So he's making a lot of moves that are good for his company that may free him up a little bit more. We'll see. Vince, you know that the Coach and Bro show is worldwide. Worldwide. And we have a super sticker from India right now. 2000 Video Game Wrestling says 2023 Brock turned heel for Cody. 2024 The Rock turned heel for Cody. 2025 John Cena turned heel for Cody. Shows how desperate WWE is to make Cody their top guy.
Well, I want to throw something in there too, because listen, everybody knows I'm not a Cody guy. I make no bones about it. However, I got to look at the other side of this, Coach, because I like to be very, very some mamby-pamby on here actually said Vince has an issue with Michael Cole. I would love to know what my issue with Michael Cole is like. Yeah, bro. Oh yeah, I've got a 20-year issue with Michael Cole. You got to say this, bro, about Brock and John Cena. You got to say this about Cody. Part of them doing it, Coach, is because they like Cody. If they didn't
100%,
if they didn't like Cody, they ain't doing this. So, don't just say, WWE is desperate to get Cody over. These guys did it because they genuinely liked Cody. They want to help Cody get over. You can't ignore that, Coach.
Exactly. And I think what wrestling fans have to understand, and it's why you come here, I worked a lot outside of the wrestling business as well. Every organization has their faces. Everyone. NFL was Tom Brady, it's now Patrick Mahomes. In Major League Baseball, it was Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper. In the NBA, it's LeBron James. It used to be Kobe Bryant. It used to be Michael Jordan. When you say somebody's desperate to get somebody over, there has to be the face of a company. It can't be a bunch of middle of the road guys that you're going to pay $200,000 and $300,000 to and think people are going to tune in every Monday and Friday night. That's not how it works. It's why the NBA features Steph Curry, LeBron James, and all of these stars. This is a star-driven. That's why it's called Hollywood. It's why it's called superstardom. It's why it's called professional sports and sports entertainment. And Vince, without stars, you're not putting 40,000 people in the Rogers Center. And so you have to bring in the OGs right now, because if you use the guys that are that B talent, are they putting 40,000 seats in Rogers Center? I would say no, not right now. So desperate? No. It's putting the emphasis of a company behind a couple of guys, and Roman Reigns can't work every week. He physically can't go every single week. Cody Rhodes can and does. And that's what they're trying to do.
And speaking of Roman Reigns, I got to say this, Coach. I think they are making this smart decision. And let's see how long they play this out. Okay. If I was them, Coach, right now, especially if you got Austin chomping at the bit, Coach, I'm not bringing Roman Reigns back till after WrestleMania.
Really?
Keep Roman in your back pocket, so at least if Rock goes away and Austin goes away, at least we bring Roman back. If I'm feeling that card is stacked enough, I'm leaving Roman off till after WrestleMania.
I'm so glad you just said that, because so many people, including inside of wrestling companies, have turned WrestleMania into a like a little league game, meaning a participation trophy. You've given us 11 months, 12 months of house shows and showing up and doing your thing, and you deserve a match at WrestleMania. No, WrestleMania is the culmination of the best storylines for the year and the best matches. So if Roman Reigns is not in one of the best storylines right now, don't force him, because there are great stars, Vince, that are not on TV every week or every month. And this is a 52-a-week product. Real quick, we got another super sticker, Vince. Ringside with What a Day Joe says, do you guys think Cena's heel turn would have gone a different way here in the United States? I feel LAX or New York City crowd would have cheered. I don't think it had anything to do with Toronto. I think it was just a shock to everybody, because everybody assumed that John Cena would not win the Elimination Chamber, or assumed it was going to be something else involving Roman Reigns. I just think it was pure shock the way they did it, which is why they got the reaction that they did.
And, Coach, it wasn't, listen, the way they did it was great. Vince Russo's a freaking hater. But somebody please write the time code where I just said that. The way they did it was great. It was beautiful, without a shadow of a doubt. But, Coach, I think half of the shock was they never do anything like this anymore. I think that was half of the shock. I think half of the shock was John Cena turning heel, and the other half was the WWE just doesn't do this anymore. So I think it was kind of double-sided, which made it so effective across the board.
All right. Let's leave it right there as far as that is concerned, because there's a lot more to talk about from Saturday night. By the way, the Coach and Bro Show brought to you by, I almost spilled my drink, WWE Shop. You can buy all of your favorite WWE merchandise through the show right here. Just scan that QR code and shop, and I guarantee you there's going to be some new John Cena merchandise in there. Tell them BTT sent you. It really helps the show grow. Now, let's stay with the other male match on Saturday night. And when you talk about two guys, Vince, that you knew it was going to be an absolute physical nightmare, but the lengths that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn went to, and I know we tease on this show a lot about Sami Zayn, but I've got to give him credit that the bumps that he was willing to take, the one where he got thrown off the top and he flipped all the way down to the floor through multiple tables was so dangerous. I can't even begin to tell you. And I just thought both guys gave us what we thought we were going to get and then some.
Yeah, well, Coach, I did not watch this, and again, I could have cared less about the match. I'm just being honest with you. But here's the thing, bro. You had a lot of things going into this match. First of all, these two guys are best friends.
100%.
So man, they want to tear that place down. Plus, Coach, which was part of the reason why I really wasn't interested, was, bro, these guys have had a million matches together. So, now they know they got to go out there and really do something spectacular like they've never done before. So when you combine all of that, and, but again, Coach, I struggle with this all the time, because I have friends that, were injured during wrestling and are still suffering today, like Stevie Richards. Bro, it's a work. It's a work, Coach. You're not supposed to put yourself in a situation where you can be hurt. And both of these guys are not young guys. Both of them. So I appreciate them wanting to tear the house down. I appreciate them wanting to have the best match they ever had. But I would also like them to have 5, 6, 7 years left in their career. Again, man, a double-edged sword, because you don't want to suffer an injury, Coach, where your career is now cut short and it's over.
There's no question there was several bumps in that match. And also the one, and I've taken every move that there is. I've taken every one. The one that I would never take, and I even took the Tombstone Piledriver from The Undertaker. But the way that Kevin Owens did the DDT the weeks before, the way like the suitcase, it looks like a suitcase, and then drops him on his neck, that, and then they're selling that neck for several weeks. I would never take that. No matter how safe KO is or anybody else is, there's no way in hell I would take it. So the whole match, they were selling the neck. And I've actually enjoyed at times, I want to make sure I say this correctly, the freedom that Michael Cole has had on commentary since Vince left. And clearly with Pat McAfee there, Pat McAfee calls the match from a fan perspective. And he says whatever he wants. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. Fans love him. He's going to be on Stephanie Places. He's going to be one of the people she interviews very, very soon. But this was the one match, and I would tell if he was sitting right here in front of me, that clearly he was coached, told this is the story we're trying to sell on probably 10 to 15, maybe more occasions. He was like, let's stop this. They're going to kill each other. Stop it. Just, Kevin, stop it. Stop. And I'm like, wait a second. This was an unsanctioned match because the WWE, this is storyline now. The story was they knew they were going to just go just short of killing each other. That was what they sold us. And they did that. But when the commentary is stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, it goes completely against what the storyline was. If these two guys want to do that, then the WWE said, it's on you. We're not going to sanction the fight. The commentary didn't match the story.
I got to tell you this, Coach, that is a great point, because think about this now going forward. If it's an unsanctioned match, then why are they going to allow commentators to commentate? Think about that match with no commentators, nobody sitting at the desk. If this is unsanctioned, it's unsanctioned. And I bet you, based on what you're saying, because I did not watch the match, but based on what you're saying, I bet you that might have added to it if there was no commentary during that match at all.
It's an interesting take. It really, really is. I don't think it was him. I think it was the powers that be, the creative, that said this is the story we want to tell. Because just because Vince is gone doesn't mean that Michael Cole does whatever he wants to do. Yeah. I think there's certain, and I just felt like, because I don't believe he would ever do it 20 times like he did. I mean, it got to the point, and I'm very, very gracious when it comes to commentary because I know how hard it is.
Right. Oh yeah.
It's really, really hard. But man, that was just, hey. We've had some brutal matches in the past. Somebody said Terry Funk. I mean, back in the day, Vince, you had guys with blood everywhere, and it's just not what is done in 2025. So I personally feel like they stole the show only because of the bumps that they were willing to take. But I also agree with you that if they want to wrestle into their late 40s, I don't even know how old they are, but I'm assuming they both are over 40 now.
Yep.
And your body just can't take that. Like, we watched The Undertaker in that A&E thing last week, and his wife was on Van Vliet, and she said that every day he gets out of bed, the hips, the knees, can't walk. We saw the road to WrestleMania. He's taking shots in the knee. We just saw Drew McIntyre. He had to get fluid taken out of his knee before he wrestled. That's real stuff, Vince. We know that.
Yeah. No, Stevie Richards always talks about the bump guard. The bump card. Your bump card has so many punches, and every time you take those bump, it's taking a punch off, and you're shortening and shortening and shortening that career.
Incredible. All right, those are the men's side of things at the Elimination Chamber. And I think as we put a bow on that conversation, that for WWE to capitalize on that, they've got to give us a really good next 2 months and then have a plan for the summer. And Vince, producer man, sent me a note that Cena was advertised for all 3 Raws in Europe coming up in March.
Well, that's great. That's good.
That'll be a good thing. A good thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's turn our attention now. This is the Coach and Bro Show. We are live every single Monday and Thursday. You can catch us right here on the BTT Studios YouTube page or on demand here as well. He is Vince Russo. I am the coach. On the women's side, they decided, Vince, to start, and I thought this is what I thought they would do. They decided to start the night with the Elimination Chamber women's match. Never see before, and I was personally shocked and very happy to see. I've been incredibly critical about Jade Cargill and her lack of work in the ring, her lack of being able to do promos, just the lack of a lot of stuff. Vince, they're bringing everybody into the ring. They're locking people into the pods. Bianca, her former partner, is already locked into the pod, and they're getting ready to start the match, and out of nowhere, here comes Jade Cargill. The cage was still open, so she gets in and absolutely beats the tar out of Naomi. Best she's ever looked. She didn't hold back. Naomi, you got to have a dance partner. If you're going to be an ass kicker, you got to have somebody that's willing to take a good ass kicking. And Naomi not only took a great ass kicking, but it was believable when they said she cannot continue. And I was like, please don't then just insert Jade into the match. They didn't do that. So it was a spot for Jade Cargill, and I thought to start the show off, feature her, and then we all assume it was Naomi that was behind the attack. We don't know yet, but finally they did something good with Jade Cargill. Now can they capitalize on that?
Yeah, no, Coach. Again, I saw this in highlights. I did because, came across the return of Jade Cargill, and yeah, it was, bro, you got some absolute a-holes in this chat. I'm just going to say it. Absolute a-holes about how much I hate wrestling and how much I'm bitter and this and Coach, how much more can I freaking put over? Like, literally, are these people deaf, dumb, and blind? I can't put over the Cena spot any more than I did. I can't put over the Jade Cargill spot any more than I did. I did not see the Orton return. That I did not see. But I saw Jade Cargill. It was absolutely phenomenal. But here's what I didn't like, Coach. This is what I didn't like. And, Coach, this ain't coming out of hatred or me being bitter. If this is going to be the angle, I don't think Bianca Belair needs to win the match. That's the angle. She's going to have the angle with Jade and Naomi because she's going to be in the middle of that. I felt personally that Alexa Bliss really needed this win. And if you gave Alexa Bliss this win, this could have been a way to tie back in the Wyatt 6. Now you got a whole other thing going. Mm-hmm. I just would not have made the decision for Bianca to go over because we got a good storyline now with these 3. I don't think her having the title shot is necessary. That's just my take.
So I guess the question is then who, because a title match was on the line with Rhea Ripley, to me, because I always listen to you about realism. And to me, Rhea is 6 feet tall, muscular, a beast. And if you have Alexa Bliss win that match, is it believable that she could really compete for that women's championship? In my eyes, it's not. She's much smaller than she was when she left a couple of years ago, and I don't know how much weight. Doesn't matter. She's always been small, but I
that's
think
why,
she's even tinier.
yeah, that's why I'm saying, Coach, tie in the Wyatt Six.
So she can have a little bit of backup.
Make her the new Bray Wyatt of the Wyatt Six, and maybe they come back as heels. You know, they were baby faces when they were on the scene. They've been off long enough to really come back with something creative. So I agree with you. On paper, Rhea Ripley would beat Alexa Bliss in 2 minutes. But if you tied her to that Wyatt Six, brought them back as a heel faction, now you got Rhea Ripley against the Wyatt Six. That's a very, very interesting story. And listen, man, I'm a huge Bianca Belair fan. I think she's a freak of freaking nature. I think she's great. I just don't think she needed to win this match.
It almost feels like maybe since they've saddled her as a tag team wrestler, and we know this in wrestling, when you're a tag team wrestler long enough, the perception is that you're not a big enough star to be a singles wrestler, and that happened with Jey Uso. It's happened with a lot of people. You rarely saw the Hardy Boys when Jeff went off. Matt did not thrive as a singles wrestler. Mm-hmm. So I think it's almost like, hey, Bianca, we wanted you to give Jade the rub. We wanted you to give Naomi the rub. And now we're going to give you the rub by giving you a title shot against Rhea Ripley at wrestling. It kind of feels that way to me. I did not have an issue with her winning it, but now I also didn't think of it from your perspective.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, I'm always about opening up the door to the most creative possibilities.
Yeah, and Coach, what I'm all about as a writer is creating as many storylines as possible. Bianca's got the storyline with Jade Cargill and Naomi. You already have that. Mm-hmm. Let's create another storyline with Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss.
Correct. Somebody's questioning, and this I don't even want to refer to anymore. And we appreciate you guys being here and watching. Part of the is our credibility in the business of being in these meetings. And somebody said about giving Naomi the rub. Naomi has drifted off to the point, it doesn't matter if she's a legend. Trish Stratus got the rub from Tiffy Time in Toronto the other night. When you're a legend and you've kind of drifted off from being a main eventer or being somebody that is used every single week, that's what we call giving them the rub with a bigger star. Bianca is clearly a bigger star than Naomi is right now, and it's not close. It's not close. So that's what I mean by giving her the rub. Now Bianca moves on. The part that was a little bit strange to me, and this is where I would love for Triple H and the creative to maybe do a little bit more shock finishes on the show, is Rhea comes out when Bianca wins. And she did it. This is what I love about Cena and Rock, is that they let everything flow. Bianca, you could tell somebody was coming because she was doing that look back, like, where are they? Just trust that they're coming out. Just trust, you know what I'm talking about. Just trust that they're coming out. Yeah. And that's when you're working with pros. You're like, okay, she's going to be there. And so Rhea comes out, and they have the face-off because, to me, Rhea has to be put in a position. She's a dominant champion. But then they bring out Io Sky, who's going to face her tonight on Monday Night Raw, just to give us the illusion that maybe it won't be Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania facing Bianca. So I would ask you the question, is there a universe that exists that a Bianca Io Sky at WrestleMania?
There is.
Please tell me.
There is. Well, Coach, again, I'm just going to put on my writer's hat for you.
Okay.
Keep in mind, when Jade Cargill, when she was attacking Naomi, Bianca Belair was in that pod.
Mm-hmm.
So is it possible that Bianca Belair was involved in that as well? And Jade Cargill is going to pick them off one by one. She could not get Bianca Belair because she was locked in the pod. That is a way to get out of that match with Bianca Belair and have Io Sky in there?
I don't hate it. I don't hate it, and it's different.
Yeah.
And I want different. I'm a big proponent of when it's in front of you, like last year with Cody at WrestleMania. Sometimes you do a story long enough, you got to give the
You got to
fans what
pay
they
it off.
want.
You got to
Gotta
pay it off. I'm
But
with you, Coach.
right. But then there's other times, Vince, where you say, and this is what The Rock was trying to explain to Sam Roberts in the post-event scrum. He's like, I listened to your podcast, and you talk about playing the long game.
Yeah.
And last year, how many fans? Hell, Dave LaGreca became an internet star last year because he was ahead of the Cody Crybabies. That I guarantee you, Vince, nobody knew there was going to be something created called the Cody Crybabies. But you have to pivot. You have to change. Right. If something happens and you lean into it, that's okay. Right. That's okay. But they rarely will do it all the way. And I'm hoping for the second year in a row, fans are able to say, you know what? Let me take a step back. Let me just enjoy what I'm watching. And then I'll analyze it after it is. Because if you would have done that Saturday, you would have had a really enjoyable Saturday night.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Coach. I agree.
So the final thing of the Elimination Chamber, and then we're going to move it forward, is the other tag team match. They tried to do the Trish with Tiffy Time and Nia Jax with whoever her tag team partner was. And I think sometimes they back themselves into a corner, Vince, and I don't know if I want more matches or if I want these super long matches. But when you only have 4 matches on the card, and the thing went for 4 hours, Vince.
Yeah.
It went for 4 hours, and you've got that tag team match, and they gave them like 30 or 35 minutes. And I was like, when is this going to be over so I can get to Sami Zayn and or whatever was after that. I think it was the men's elimination chamber, but it was way too long. And then at some point, we talk about working with talent. They've got to sit Nia Jax down and tell her, you need to be what Jade Cargill looked like tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're a beast. All commentary does is talk about how dominant you are. You've been dominant for 20 years. They put over how many eliminations in the Royal Rumble. Stop trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Stop trying to imitate Trish Stratus. Just be a killer.
Yeah.
That's who you are. Why can't they just make her be that?
Yeah. Coach, I got to ask you a question business-wise, because you bring up a very, very, very good point. Coach, don't you think there has to be some kind of a correlation with how many matches as opposed to the price of the tickets? Like, I don't know. How are you going to get away with charging the prices you're charging with 4 matches on the card? I would think there would have to be some kind of correlation there. No, Coach?
I don't think they see it that way. And I think that's why people loved house shows so much, because you get 10 or 12 matches and you get your money's worth. I think at the PLE, they're charging for to say how many fans are in the building. We must have heard 20 times 38,497, whatever the number was. And so should they think about that? I don't think they know how many matches are going to be on this card till maybe a week or two right now before these big events. I think the bigger issue, and I don't know if the people, I see this as 2 companies. I see this as WWE, and I see this as UFC and TKO. And TKO owned UFC first. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so having Rock come in, I don't know if Rock's going to, because he's getting these huge bonuses, but they are, and the SmackDown in New Orleans, when Rock was advertised for 4 days, it didn't sell out. It was 85 to 90%. And it's not because he's not popular. It's because the tickets were so insanely high and expensive.
Right.
And if they're going to continue to do this, then a family of 4, as they head towards WrestleMania, I saw tickets for Elimination Chamber somewhere like $1,200, $1,400, $1,600. And, you had all those different levels. I'm not paying the bills for TKO, but damn, Vince, there comes a time, and I don't know if you saw this, but they're bundling now. Do you see this? So they have an event coming up in Kansas City. They just bought the PBR, the Pro Bull Riders Tour. Mm-hmm. So they're having 3 events in Kansas City: a Pro Bull Riders Tour, a SmackDown or Raw, and then an NXT, and you can buy a bundle ticket. I don't know how much it is.
Yeah.
But now they're trying to get creative with the other entities that they are buying as a company. And if you start having 8 different things, and they put a bull rider on camera the other night. I had no clue who the guy was, but it's like, man, you're going to give it to me. I know you are. I think it's a slippery slope, and we will continue to talk about it. But Vince, when you start seeing that black stuff up there and it starts to affect the talent, and it's not on the talent all the time. If it was, half the cost or 3/4 the cost, you're going to sell out the building.
Coach, I'm telling you, I just noticed it this past weekend, Coach. Kind of tried to sneak one by me.
Okay.
We're talking about these big deals now. We're talking about, Endeavor buying the WWE, forming TKO. We're talking about Netflix with the WWE. Coach, I'm gonna promote this app out there for everybody. It's called Rocket Money. Rocket, bro, this is a great app. It smartens you up on all the subscriptions you have that you've completely forgot about, that you've been paying for months and months.
I know I do it.
I got a notice from Rocket Money, not from Netflix. Just so you know, your Netflix is now $17.99 a month. Not from Netflix, from Rocket Money.
Really?
And that's my point. My point is, bro, the money these companies are paying, this is getting passed along to us, Coach, whether we like it or not. The money that Netflix paid for the WWE is getting passed along to us. And I'm looking at this now and I'm like, you know what? I really don't know if I want to be paying $17.99 a month for Netflix. I'm totally shooting there.
Yesterday, the mother of my children, we were walking at my son's golf, and she was talking about Disney Plus, and they just raised the prices there, and they do it very strategically. They don't do it by $5; they do it by $1 or $2. And when you have 300 million users, that adds a lot of money very, very quickly. And then they do it by another dollar and another dollar, and then they've got the tier with the advertising, which is lower. But then they have the tier without any advertising, which I think is $24.99. So you knew that this was going to be the case. And all these apps are doing it. So I think, to your point, Vince, we're going to have to decide, or a lot of people are going to have to decide, I can't have Peacock, Netflix, Amazon, all these apps that started at $9.99 are now $17.99. That's a great, great point. We have 2 more super stickers we got to hit before we get out of here. And thank you to Max Steel. All of WWE is mid-level right now, including Cody. Would you agree with that, Vince?
No, I wouldn't. I would not agree with all of WWE. You've got your stars, but the stars are in the minority. I mean, there's no question about that.
And our other super sticker, Ty, says Jax was known for hurting people during her first run. Hell, I think Carrie Sand still has PTSD from how many times she's been hurt by Jax.
That's a good point, Coach, is maybe that's why she's pulled back.
Maybe. She did that move where she jumps off the top and is supposed to be landing on somebody. There had to be a foot in between her and the person laying on the ground. Because I think she's Bailey. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. There's been a lot of women that have complained at how sloppy she is. And when you're sloppy and a lot of your moves are coming down on people, that becomes a real, real issue.
Right.
It really does. You don't see anybody going, hey, let me go have a no-holds-barred match with Nia Jax. She's also been around for a minute. Yeah. And if I'm her, I'm working on my craft. I still practice into the mirror to be an elite-level host in this business because I want to stay in it. Any craft is the same way, Vince. Whether it's wrestling, basketball, baseball, you got to practice.
Absolutely, man.
Practice.
Put in your reps.
You're damn right. All right, real quick before we get the hell out of here, and thank you to everybody for watching. What a really big audience we had today, and we appreciate all of you for the super stickers as well. Vince, tell the good people where they can get all of your stuff. And are you going to be watching Raw tonight?
I'm going to be watching Raw tonight. And listen, again, guys, listen, understand this. They have a track record of when they have a big show, a big WrestleMania, a big Royal Rumble, and they know they're going to have a huge audience the following night. Coach, they got a reputation of not delivering. They know they are going to have a huge audience tonight. And Coach, for my business, for your business, I'm hoping they deliver.
I hope so.
I seriously deliver. I do have a lot more confidence knowing The Rock's involved, knowing Brian's involved. I got a lot more confidence with that. But guys, you need to deliver tonight. And we'll be reviewing that show over on Russo's Brand. Guys, if you've never been a member of my Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/Russo TWC and get a free week of the brand so you could sample all the shows.
Yeah, my favorite one is castrating the marks. That's my favorite, russosbrand.com. By the way, here at BTT Studios, of course, tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, we have The Last Word. We are live on Stadium. We're live in over 100 million homes tonight. Amazon Prime Video, DirecTV, YouTube TV, Roku TV. We are everywhere. Me, Big Tommy C. Can you believe how big of a star Big Tommy C's become?
He's huge.
I mean, it's crazy, right?
Big.
But the true star of the show is Gabby Laspisa. Everybody, they can't get enough of Gabby.
You're doing everything in your power, Coach, to keep her away from me. Why? I don't know, Coach. I've yet to meet Gabby, Coach.
Well, I think you guys would clash, I guess is my word. She is very much a glass half full type of person, and you're not exactly that.
No.
You're my guy. But no. I think at some point you and Gabby will be on the same show. That's going to happen. Last week we had Victoria, and they were like two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
All telling each other how great they are and all that kind of stuff. Tonight, by the way, special guest Chaz from the Headbangers.
Oh, nice.
Will be on tonight.
Big fan of Chaz. Love Chaz. Love him.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for today. If you missed any of this show live, you can also catch us on demand right here on our BTT Studios page. Check out all of our sponsors. Everything's on the page as well. Go to behindtheturnbuckle.net for everything that we do. For Vince Russo, producer man, I am the coach. We'll see you Thursday live, 1 p.m. Eastern. There's only one Coach and Bro show. Take care.